Good on you, mate. Good evening. God, I'm so tired. Jesus. Yeah, shooting for a few hours today. Anyway, something that all the GFX videos are out there on YouTube. I'm always interested in the, who gives a damn about specs? Who gives a damn about, this is a great camera, it shoots, oh great, you can get that information anywhere. Specific information that people want to know, interesting, like, wow, that's neat, that would incline me to buy the camera. Stuff like that's important, and nobody reports on it. Oh my god, I took such beautiful JPEGs. You can take JPEGs with a crap camera, much less one that's $6,500. The important thing on the GFX that nobody's talking about. Someone else called me too, is a guy that actually sells, he's actually a distributor for Fujifilm, a buddy of mine, and he was telling me the same thing I was telling him. That adapted lenses are absolutely incredible. He's actually adapting Hasselblad lenses onto his GFX. He bought one for himself, and he doesn't really buy cameras that many, which nobody needs to. People only need a few cameras. Same conclusion I was telling him. I adapt Nikon lenses and Voigtlander and Tamron lenses. I'm not interested in any zoom lenses, as far as adapted zoom lenses on the GFX, but the aspect ratio on this, of the 60, I've tested now over 70 lenses, and all but about 5 or 6 of them are awesome. They work fine. Even PhotoDiox warns, like, don't use any wide-angle lenses below 35mm, and that's not an issue either. You just change the aspect ratio. Now, you got 51 megapixels at 4:3 aspect ratio. In other words, full-blown 51 megapixels. Okay, let's say I got a little bit of vignetting on a really awesome lens, and I need to drop the aspect ratio to 5:4. Well, I still got 46 megapixels. No, it's 48 megapixels. On two lenses, actually the fisheye lens, I actually had to drop it to 7:6 ratio, which is 45 megapixels. Now, the Nikon D810 is 36 megapixels, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that's 9 megapixels higher than the Nikon D810. 1:1 ratio, square format's really great for headshots. Square 1:1 is 38 megapixels, pretty close to the Nikon D810. 3:2, 45 megapixels. 16:9, 38 megapixels also. The 65:24, not too interested in its panoramic shots. Not had to crop anything tighter than 1:1, and that was a f4.5. What lens was that? It was an f5.6 prime. Was that? No, that was the 55mm f4.5 is an older AIS 55mm macro Nikkor. That one actually had to crop to 1:1. That's actually the most. Well, you don't have to crop it. You can just choose the aspect ratio in the camera. Either that or just crop it. Easier just to choose the aspect ratio that doesn't show any vignetting. Exposure is per unit area, by the way. I don't think people seem to understand that. Larger sensors don't gather more light. Let me repeat that, because I've said it in 1,000 videos, but nobody seems to get it. Larger sensors don't get... Well, sure it is. Larger sensors like a bigger picture window. No, it's not. Sensors don't work like picture windows. Exposure is per unit area. That's like thinking that if you move from the state of Connecticut, which is tiny, to the state of New York, which is large, then more light is going to fall on your head. No, exposure is per unit area. So when you choose a smaller aspect ratio of the sensor, sensing the circle image projection out of the rear element of the lens, and it has nothing to do with exposure. It's aspect ratio. This is a hardcore fact, not my opinion. Exposure is per unit area, okay? Not per total area, okay? Like if there's a rainstorm, a kiddie pool will have 2 inches of water in it. The same rainstorm, a glass of water next to it will, an empty glass will have 2 inches of water. So it doesn't matter if it's a kiddie pool. Exposure is not per total area. It's per unit area. So, of the 70 plus lenses that I tried, and it literally is over 70, there's only one lens that I had to choose a nasty aspect ratio of 1:1, and even that is 38 megapixels. 2 megapixels higher than the Nikon D810. Also, the SNR, the actual signal-to-noise ratio, or the native gain on the bare sensor at the sensor. Not ISO, because ISO is not connected to exposure. Exposure is gain and time. Gain being aperture, time being shutter speed, of course. Gain and time. Exposure is per unit area. Not an issue. So even the very worst lens that I tested, I was like, well, this lens is going to have some serious vignette. No, he still chose a 38 megapixel aspect ratio on the GFX. So his actual call reiterated the fact that, you know, even though I kind of mentioned this, I really didn't hit the nail on the head on the GFX of how important this is, because a lot of people are thinking, and his thing too is he's, you know, this is a relatively small lens. The smallest lens, actually, the 63mm f2.8 for the Fujifilm. The rest of the Fujifilm lenses are pretty big, and he didn't want, you know, to pack around his GFX with some huge ass glass. Medium format lenses are huge by their nature. He wanted the smaller lenses, even though he's using Hasselblad medium format lenses, but even those lenses are smaller than most of Fujifilm's GFX lenses, of which there are currently only 3 out, except for this one, which is their smallest one, like I said. So it doesn't matter what aspect ratio you choose, you're still winning. Winning. Isn't that like a, used to be like on a t-shirt of what's his face? I forget his name. The actor is called Winning. It's like hashtag winning. Anyway, that's so important. It means, no, please God, don't ask me about any damn zoom lens. I'm not interested in adapting zoom lenses, even though I can. I tried a couple. You just don't adapt a zoom lens and stick it on this. You just don't do that. I mean, you're talking about nice prime lenses, you know? And with the adapters, you can use freaking non-AI lenses. I love the people that say, well, those old lenses can't handle the high megapixel. That is such BS, too. That's one of the biggest fallacies out there. You can stick some old lenses. Old, really old, like early World War II lenses. On this with the correct adapter, whew, fine. Just knock you on your ass. So, there's the big secret that nobody's talking about the GFX, because I like dropping information that's important and pertinent, yet nobody else has the brains to talk about it. It's like, this is important. It's like, well, that camera's expensive and the lenses are expensive. It's like, well, not really. The camera relatively is actually quite cheap relative to other medium format digital. The lenses are not that expensive relative to other, but if you don't want that, you just pick your favorite lens and just adapt your other lenses. This is a bare sensor. This actually is Fujifilm, as I mentioned in a prior video a few weeks ago. Fujifilm's best camera, for using adapted lenses. And trust me, I've used adapted lenses on all Fujifilm stuff. I don't make that statement lightly. It is an absolute hardcore damn fact. This is the best camera for sticking adapted lenses on it. Period. Not my opinion. Fact. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, drop me a buck or two. Tell me, jump off a cliff, whatever makes you happy. Fujifilm GFX. Fuji. No, Fujifilm does not sponsor me. You really think that? Of course they would not. I just like reporting information that people can find helpful, making an accurate, logical, intelligent decision based upon facts and empirical data. Thank you, and bye.